Welcome to the Living Lighter Show. I am your host, Sally Thibault, and today we're talking the 3 top strategies to help you deal with toxic people. Let's go. Good morning. Welcome to the show today. Can't wait to deep dive into this one. There's lots of reasons why helping you deal effectively with toxic people is incredibly important to your health and your wellness and your body. We're going to talk about that. And as you come on this morning, just say hi. Let me know you can hear me. I can't wait to share with. How we're going to do this is I'm going to share my top 3 strategies. And at the end, and with each strategy, I'm also going to share a question that you can ask yourself, so that when you are struggling with this issue or any issue, you have a question you can ask of yourself to figure out what's really going on for you. I'm also going to share a story of my most challenging toxic person I ever worked with, but the lessons I learned and changed my life. So I'm going to share that with you as well. So good morning, Elle. Lovely to see you, and lovely to see you this morning as well, Elle. Thank you. Good morning, Nicole, and welcome on the show again. Again, we're going to get through this. I'll take a break sort of halfway through. We'll go through any questions. And then I just love this particular topic because I think it really is something that we all have to deal with at some stage. And when we recognize that that's what's going on, we can figure out what this person has showed up in our life for. So let's get started. You know, what I've realized in my numerous decades on the planet and also in working with people is that toxic people are blissfully unaware of the impact they have on others, totally unaware. What they do is leave this shattered people behind them. You will be dealing with something with this toxic person, and they'll just merrily be going on, and you'll be stuck in something they've done or something they've said. Your stress levels will have risen. You can't stop thinking of it, and they've just moved on to something else. Now, what happens with these toxic people is they keep your brain in a highly stressed state. So what they do is the impact of what they do actually impacts on you for a lot longer than it should. And as I mentioned before, they've merrily moved along, don't even realize what they've done. Often if you're dealing with a narcissistic personality, even if you try and confront them, they'll make it your fault anyway. They are never at fault. They will always have a reason why they've said that. There'll be something about them and something about their life and something about that's important to them. And the fact that you are upset or that it's impacted on you has more to do with you than them. So as we move through this, I'm going to give you these strategies to help deal with it. But what I wanted to say right up front with this is that trying to rationalize with a toxic person will impact on your body. Because, as I mentioned before, it keeps your brain in a highly stressed state. And as you know, and we've talked about on this show heaps of times, that means that your cortisol levels are high. And when your cortisol levels are high, it impacts on A, your ability to think clearly, B, your immune system, which we just don't want any of that going on at the moment. You want to make sure your immune system is running at peak at the moment. So stress will create inflammation, which will lower your immune system. And of course, number 3, being in that constant stress state will lay down what we call visceral fat, belly fat. So dealing with a toxic person with your stress levels high all the time, and you might be trying to lose the weight that no longer serves you, and dealing with this toxic person is not going to let go because your stress levels are high. A little bit how that happens. Cortisol levels are high, and cortisol is designed for the flight, fight, and freeze response, creates adrenaline in the body in order for you to do something. In the days of the claw and fang jungle, that meant fight, kill whatever was going to impact on you. Flight, run, get away from it, or freeze, just pretend you're dead so that whatever animal was going to kill you would walk away. But we don't do that. So when you've got a toxic person in your life and you're highly stressed, you sit with it. And that cortisol's got nowhere to go. So the body holds on to the fat because you may need it for energy later on. So it's incredibly important that you look at the impact of the toxic person in your life and how that's impacting on your body, because really and honestly, that's what's most important for you, isn't it? Really, that's where you've got to be focused on. So before we move to the steps, a few people commenting. I just want to hop on and have a look. Good morning, Deborah, up in, where are you? Tin Can Bay, I think. I hope it's lovely up there. We've had fog and rain here this morning. Good morning, Sally. Good morning, Katerina. Welcome. Morning, Margaret. Lovely to see you here. Good morning, Katerina. Lovely. All right, let's get on, and I'm going to share with you, as I mentioned, the top 3 steps and how you can release that. And then because I'm going to share a story with you and how it actually changed your life. So the first one is to recognize how and why this person triggers you. This is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, is to recognize how and why this person triggers you. Now, in my experience, it's not often as it seems. There is an underlying belief as to why this person triggers you so much. So the question to ask of yourself, why am I so invested in having this person like me or accept me? Because often this is about value and worth. So why am I so invested in having this person like or accept me? That's the very first question to ask. And as I mentioned, like, there'll be layers to that. Question number 1. Number 2, acknowledge they're an angel disguised as an idiot. I heard this many years ago and I just giggle to myself every time I think of somebody that pushes my buttons. Right, they're an angel disguised as an idiot. They're an angel disguised as an idiot. So the question to ask is, what belief do I have about me that they are triggering? That's their job. If you remember that everything that happens to you is an opportunity for you to transform and transcend limitations. When somebody triggers you and challenges in your life, all they're doing is, as their angel job is to do on this planet, what belief do I have about me that they are triggering? Now, I wanted to share this story with you. Many years ago, I was working in an organization with a woman who was my, she wasn't my I wasn't directly reported to her, but I kind of had to go through her to get to the CEO of the organization. So she maintained that bit of power. For some reason, she did not like what I did. She didn't understand it. Her role was in finance. So in my role, which was marketing, she didn't get it. She didn't understand why we needed to have somebody that was involved in marketing. For her reason, I was a liability or a debit to the organization rather than an asset and a credit to the organization. So she would be constant. I used to have to present a report every month to the CEO, and she would get a copy. She would always challenge me on it. Every single time she would challenge me on this. And I would just, she's driving me crazy. She's driving me. And then I would spend more time making sure the report was right. I'd go back, double check all my stats, double check I had everything, rock solid in my mind before I presented this report. So when she came into question, which she always did, I'd have the stats figured out. That's what she needed, was the stats. This one day, it was Christmas time. And one of the large suppliers for the organization used to always hold a Christmas breakfast event and ask all their clients to come to the Christmas event. Now, by this stage, I've been working at the organization for a fairly long time. 5 years, 6 years maybe. And this was something I did every single year. It was in my calendar, in my diary. Cost nothing for the organisation for me to go. It simply meant I may be an hour late than normal. So I advised the receptionist, if anybody's looking for me tomorrow morning, I probably won't be until 9:30. I used to get in around 7:30, 8 o'clock, which was always earlier than anyway. But just to advise everybody, if anyone's looking with me, I may not be until 9:30. So off I went to this wonderful Christmas breakfast, great, coming back feeling full of Christmas joy and love and glow. And it was such a lovely time and lots of networking, which is just my real thing. I love networking. And I get back and she is standing at my office door. And I walked in and she just she was so incensed. I've never seen anybody so angry that they were like white hot anger. And she said, "Where have you been?" Speaking to me like I'm 10. I said, "Well, I've been at this breakfast I go to every Christmas. This is the suppliers that organise it. Doesn't cost us anything." She said, "You need to be at your desk at 8 a.m. every day if I need you." I said, "Well, I advised the receptionist where I was going to be." She said, "That is not their job to keep a track on you. You need to be at your desk at 8 o'clock. Well, you know how when you can feel the anger rising up from your little toe? Went up from my little toe, my ankles, knees, my legs. I could feel this anger. I could feel this absolutely burning anger. Honestly, I was everything not to say, F-U-C-K off, lady. I didn't. I just said, "Thank you." I went into my office. I sat down. I was so angry, I had to walk outside. I actually walked outside, took my shoes off, found a piece of grass that's still on the grass. I needed to ground myself. I'm phoning my husband. I said, I am over this. He said, "Hold on, take a deep breath, just get through it." I was coming up for long service leave and holidays. And when I got into EFT, that particular incident came up for me one day in a session that we were doing. And I was still angry about this. I end up leaving the company, end up going to other wonderful things in my life, but that incident stayed with me. And one day when I was doing this EFT, this came up for me big time. And I couldn't release it with the anger. So I was journaling, I was meditating on it. What was it about this woman that I was still carrying this anger many years later? And what I realized one day, an aha moment, she was challenging my worth and my value. The reason I was so angry was that I felt I'd done all the work and I'd done all these right things, and I was giving, when she said you need to be at your desk by 8 a.m., like sometimes I was in my office by 7. She knew never there then to see me to do that. But what she was doing, she was challenging my belief in my worth and value. And when I got that, it was like, oh my gosh. I was so angry with her because I didn't feel that I was worthy or valued. She was triggering it. Nothing I did was good enough for this woman. So what did I do? I worked harder. What did I do? I got angrier. What did I do? I got more internal on myself. I was literally eating myself up inside. And the long story, I went on to continue working for the organisation for a while, ended up with adrenal fatigue, no wonder, and became quite ill. It took me years to get over it. But I always remember that moment because what that woman did at that point in time, even though it took me a little while to get it, gave me the impetus to begin working on my own self-worth and value. Own self-worth and value. That's what it was all about. The belief that I wasn't good enough. That's what she was triggering. Did it bother her? No. She, after she'd had her at me while I wasn't in the office, I was the one who was mulling on it and obviously locked in my amygdala for years afterwards. But did it bother her? No. She went off on a merry way, went on to do the same thing probably to the next person, but it triggered me. So when something shows up, acknowledge that this person is an angel disguised as an idiot. They're literally showing up for you to challenge what belief are they triggering. That's it. That's it. When you can remove the emotional response to their actions and say, ask yourself, use EFT, meditation, journaling, whatever it is, to get to the belief. Because once I cleared it, trust me, nobody ever will speak to me like that again. Never. It was a gift she gave me. A gift. I didn't see it at the time, but I saw it now. Okay, step number 3. Stop trying to beat them at their own game. They're invested in getting you to respond to them, but then they move on. If you continually think about it, challenge them, talk to other people about it, you're trying to beat them at their game. So the question that you need to ask is, how do I release my attachment to their desired outcome? So what this woman was saying to me was, I'm in charge. I'll tell you that you need to be at your desk at 8 o'clock. Well, I'm not just going to buy into that. Thank you very much. I don't care what you say. And first of all, realised later on, she wasn't in a position to get rid of me anyway. That was I worried about. So I needed to release my attachment to her desired outcome, which was to keep me small. Keep me small. So we're going to move on to a tapping session in a minute. I'm just going to come back and have a look at some of these comments. I hope this is resonating. Where are we? Morning, Kathy. Morning, Sandy. Lovely to have you on. Katerina, great training by your angel. Yes, yes, yes. Sandy, yes, trying to dim my light. Oh, absolutely. Did she ever? Didn't like the fact that people were in my office all the time chatting to me and She didn't like that. Not at all. Trying to dim my light. She didn't get it. It's funny though, I can look back on it now and go, I'm so glad that happened. It wasn't at the time, but I'm really glad it happened, because boy, did I ever learn a lot about me. Kathy, all about our worth. An aha moment. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, it's all about our worth. Yes, Margaret. Big story. Debbie. Yes. Incredible, isn't it? So let's go through those questions one more time. I'm just going to put them up one more time. Oh, let's go. So number 1, recognize how and why this person triggers you. So the question to ask is, why am I so invested in having them like or accept me? Number 2, acknowledge they are an angel disguised as an idiot. Oh, bless their cotton socks. That's what they came here for. What belief do I have about me that they are triggering? Number 3, stop trying to beat them at their own game. And the question to ask, how do I to release my attachment to their desired outcome? How do I release it, should say. How do I release my attachment to their desired outcome? Simple as that. Now, if you're struggling with a person in your life who is driving you crazy and you just can't get rid of them, bless them. Remember you to register for a free chat with me, strategy session. And let me see if and how I can help you get over this. Now, I'm just going to move into the tapping session now, because I'm very aware we've got only 10 minutes left. Where are we? Margaret, she was keeping you small. Yes, she was. Sandy, I just had a conversation with someone about that on Thursday. Interesting. Sally, this is playing out in my co-parenting. Oh, yeah, yep, Sally, I could, see. Yeah, it's Sandy, I find it's rare. People triggering me now. Brilliant. Yeah, when you learn to release that attachment to outcome, it's really powerful. I'm just putting in the chat how you can, yeah, there we go. It's coming up. How you can reach out if you are really struggling. Alrighty, let's do this, shall we? Let's tap on this, shall we? All right, so I want you to think of a person, an incident, what else would be? A person or an incident who has triggered you. Now, it may not be somebody right now. Maybe it's someone in the past and you really feel, maybe I haven't gotten over this. Maybe I haven't gotten over this. I just want you to think about them. I'm going to use the word powerless, but you can use whatever you want. Made me feel small, made me feel insignificant, made me feel, what else? Unloved, made me feel I wasn't worthy. Whatever the word is that resonates for you, how this person or this incident made you feel, I'm going to use the word powerless. I want you to measure on a scale of 1 to 10 what that feels like in your body and where you're feeling it. And let's see what goes. Remember with tapping, taking responsibility for your own well-being in this. And again, with tapping, it's really important that you get to the specific issue. So this is general, but it'll give you an idea to where to go. Ready, people? Thinking of that incident, thinking of that person with love, of course. All right, here we go. Even though this person makes me feel powerless, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though it makes me feel so stressed and upset, and I can feel it in my gut, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though this person really knows how to push my buttons, and it makes me feel powerless, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Okay, here we go, tapping. Makes me feel so powerless. All this stress and emotion. They just push my buttons. Makes me feel so powerless. Just pushes my buttons. I can feel all this anxiety and stress in my gut. I can feel all this stress and anxiety. They just make me feel so powerless. Okay, take a deep breath. Now, I want you to think of any time in the past where you felt powerless, stressed, upset. Write those down. You'll need to go to the incident, remember? You'll need to go to that in order to collapse it so we can reframe it, but I will move into a reframe now so you know where to go with this. All right. Again, taking responsibility for your health and your well-being, and let's start with the reframe. Here we go. Even though they try to make me feel powerless, I choose to release my emotional attachment to their outcome. Even though they're trying their best to push my buttons, I choose to stay true to myself. Even though sometimes I'm triggered by this person, I choose to honor my value and my worth. Here we go. I choose to release this emotional attachment. I choose to stay true to myself. I choose to honor the lessons this person's trying to teach me, so I can release this limiting belief. I choose to forgive them. I choose to release my emotional attachment. I choose to honor my value and my worth. I choose to stay true to myself. Let's take a deep breath and let it go. How'd you go? Let me know quickly in the comments how you're doing. Remember, if you are struggling with something, please reach out and schedule a chat with me, and let's see if I can help you figure this out. Finally, let go. What difference would it make if you could let go of the emotional attachment to the outcome of this person? Remember, angel disguised as an idiot, simply showing up to teach you something about you. And can I go back to that story that I was sharing with you and say, as I mentioned before, that particular incident changed my life in ways that I couldn't possibly imagine. But when I look back on it now, I am so, so grateful. Number one, that it happened, but number two, that I figured it out. That really was an amazing lesson in my life. Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for an enlightening session, Possum. You're welcome, Katerina. Thank you for hopping on this morning too. Sandy, you know who I had to tap on. Yes. Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? Because for most of us, it'll be one person. It'll be that one person. And it keeps happening, and we just keep going back for more. So don't remember, the minute you feel powerless, the minute you feel triggered, the minute that you feel your value and your worth is being judged, it's not about that person. It's not about that person. It's about you. And that's the empowering part. Thanks, beautiful Sally. You're welcome, Sandy. Thank you, Sally. You're welcome, Margaret. You're welcome, Deborah. Thanks, Trish. Glad you are on. Yeah, great session. One of my favorite topics, actually. Sandy, that was the only name that came up. Always the same, always the same. You're welcome, Sally. All right, my lovely friends, we are at the end of the show. Have a great weekend. And this week, work on that person who's triggered you. Work on that person who's triggered you. Forgive them. Release your attachment to outcome. Ask that question. What do I need to learn about myself in order for me to move forward? Only here to share you something about you. You're welcome, Nicole. Thank you for being here. Deborah, very powerful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Have a wonderful week, everybody. I shall see you next week on the Living Lighter Show. And please share this with someone that you feel might need a little reminder to help them release their attachment to the outcome and a toxic person that may be taking over their life. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Bye for now.